Story 1. I'm 33 years old, and I've been a gamer for as long as I can remember. My first console was a hand-me-down from a neighbor kid, and I've owned every generation since. Gaming isn't just a hobby for me, it's how I decompress after work, how I stay connected with friends who live across the country, and most importantly, how I bond with my nephew. My nephew is 13 now. I've watched him grow up from a tiny baby who couldn't hold a controller to a kid who can absolutely destroy me in most games. He lives with my sister, but she shares custody with his dad, so I only get to see him every couple of months. Between his schedule bouncing between houses and my own work commitments, our visits are precious. We make the most of them. The thing that's always connected us is gaming. When he was younger, we'd play simple stuff together. As he got older, we graduated to more complex games. These days, he's obsessed with Fortnite, while I prefer things like Overwatch and Warframe. But when we're together, we play what he wants. That's just how it is. Uncle time means nephew's choice. About a year ago, my sister started dating someone new. He's 39, works some kind of sales job, and seemed okay at first. I'd only met him a handful of times during my visits, and he was always polite enough. A little quiet, maybe a bit territorial about the house, but nothing that set off alarm bells. That changed last week. I went up to visit my sister and nephew for 2 weeks. It was going to be a proper visit, not just a weekend. I took time off work specifically so we could hang out, play games, and just enjoy each other's company. The first few days were great. My nephew was excited to have me there, and we spent hours playing Fortnite together. Now, I need to be honest about something. I am absolutely terrible at building in Fortnite. If you've played the game, you know that building is half the battle. My nephew has tried to teach me so many times. Nephew, uncle, hit this button then that over and over to build a ramp. Me, I'm trying. My fingers don't move that fast. Nephew, you're literally just standing there getting shot. Me, I panicked. He thinks it's hilarious. Every time I fumble a build and get eliminated, he loses his mind laughing. I don't mind. Hearing him laugh like that is worth dying 100 times in a video game. We were in the middle of a match, my nephew cackling at my latest failed attempt at building a wall, when the boyfriend walked in. He didn't yell exactly, but he raised his voice in that way people do when they want to sound authoritative without technically shouting. Boyfriend, why are you using my controller? My nephew's laughter stopped immediately. He looked confused. Nephew, I always use this one. You said it was fine. Boyfriend, well, it's not fine today. Give it. He walked over and snatched the controller right out of my nephew's hands. Just took it. The game was still going, and without a second player, we got eliminated almost immediately. My nephew sat there looking stunned, and I could see something in his eyes that hit me hard. It wasn't just disappointment. It was embarrassment. He was embarrassed in front of me. I'm not a confrontational person. I don't do physical altercations. But I am someone who will absolutely use my resources to solve a problem. And right then, I decided this problem was getting solved. Me, hey, we're going out for a bit. Be back in an hour. My sister nodded, looking a little confused but not questioning it. I grabbed my nephew and we headed to the car. Nephew, where are we going? Me, GameStop. We walked into the store and I bought 2 brand new controllers. Good ones. We drove back, set up, and started playing again. About 20 minutes in, the boyfriend came back into the room. Boyfriend, I told you not to use my controllers. I pulled out the receipt and showed it to him. Me, these aren't yours. I just bought them. He stared at the receipt for a second, then his expression shifted. Boyfriend, well, it's my PlayStation. You can't use my PlayStation. I looked at my nephew. He looked defeated. I stood up. Me, come on. We're going out again. Back to GameStop. This time I bought a brand new PlayStation 5. The whole console, everything included. We drove back, set it up in the living room, and started a new match. The boyfriend came in maybe 30 minutes later. I could see him processing the new console sitting there. Boyfriend, what is this? Me, his new PlayStation. Boyfriend, you can't just. That's my TV. You're using my TV. I took a deep breath. I really did not want to spend this kind of money. But every time I looked at my nephew, every time I saw that look in his eyes, I knew I wasn't going to let this man-child win. Me, fine. I pulled my sister aside that night. Me, nephew and I are going out early tomorrow. We'll be gone half the day. Sister, that's fine. Everything okay? Me, it will be. The next morning, my nephew and I went on a shopping spree. GameStop first. I bought him about 10 games, 2 extra controllers, and one of those virtual reality headsets for the PlayStation. Then we went to the big store and I got him a 42-inch TV and a stand to put it on. We brought everything back and set it up in the den. His own gaming station, his own TV, his own console, his own controllers, his own games, everything with receipts in his name, paid for by me. My sister helped us set it up. She didn't say much, but I could tell she understood what was happening. The boyfriend got home later that afternoon. He walked into the den, saw the setup, and his face went through about 6 different emotions in 3 seconds. Boyfriend, what the hell is all this? My sister stepped in before I could say anything. Sister, my brother bought it, all of it, for his nephew. And before you say anything about the internet, I pay that bill, so there's nothing here that belongs to you. He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. Nothing came out. And then he did something I will never forget. He went to the living room, sat down in the corner, and just stayed there, scowling, arms crossed, for 4 hours. 4 hours. I'm not exaggerating. I could see him from where I was sitting in the den, playing Fortnite with my nephew. Every time I glanced over, he was still there, fuming silently like a child who'd been put in timeout. My nephew was oblivious, too busy laughing at my terrible building skills to notice. But my sister saw. Every time our eyes met, she had to hide her smirk. At one point, she joined us, picked up one of the new controllers and hopped into a match. Sister, watch and learn, little brother. She built a 3-story fortress in about 8 seconds while I was still trying to figure out which button made walls. Nephew, mom's better than you. Uncle, me, everyone is better than me. That's not news. We played for hours, the 3 of us, laughing and joking and having an amazing time. And the whole while, the boyfriend sat in his corner, radiating silent fury because his girlfriend's brother had spent money just to make sure a 13-year-old could play video games in peace. My sister pulled me aside before bed that night. Sister, you didn't have to do all that. Me, yeah, I did. Sister, he's going to be insufferable for weeks. Me, that sounds like a him problem. She laughed. Sister, when you have kids, I'm buying them the newest console the day it comes out. Every single generation. Me deal. I left at the end of my 2 weeks, but the gaming setup stayed. My nephew now has his own space, his own equipment, and nobody can tell him he can't use it. We play together every other night now over the internet. He's still trying to teach me how to build. Nephew, uncle, just practice in creative mode. Me, I have practiced. My brain doesn't work that fast. Nephew, you're hopeless. Me, I know. I still can't build to save my life. But every time I hear my nephew laugh through the headset, every time we squat up and drop into a match together, I know those receipts were worth every penny. And somewhere in my sister's house, I like to imagine the boyfriend is still sitting in that corner, scowling at nothing. Story 2. I started driving for Uber back in late 2017. It wasn't my first choice of work, but life has a way of pushing you in directions you didn't expect. I had spent almost 15 years working in warehouse logistics, managing shipments and coordinating deliveries for a distribution company outside Detroit. Good steady work, decent pay, benefits. Then the company got bought out by a larger corporation and half the staff got laid off, myself included. At 43 years old, finding a new job in the same field wasn't easy. The industry had changed. Everything was automated now, run by algorithms and computers. The jobs that existed wanted younger workers who would accept lower pay. I applied to dozens of positions and got nowhere. My wife was working as a nurse at the time, pulling long shifts at a hospital downtown. We had 2 kids in high school, a mortgage, car payments. We couldn't afford for me to sit around waiting for the perfect job to appear, so I signed up for Uber. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills. I drove mostly evenings and weekends when the demand was highest. Friday and Saturday nights in Detroit could be lucrative if you were willing to deal with the drunk crowds and the traffic. I learned the city inside and out, knew which areas to avoid, which routes were fastest depending on the time of day. After about a year, I had it down to a science. The thing about driving for Uber is that you meet all kinds of people. Most passengers are fine. Normal folks just trying to get from one place to another. Some are chatty, some are quiet, some are drunk and annoying but harmless. You learn to roll with it. But every once in a while you get someone who treats you like you're less than human, like you're not a person with bills and a family and a life, but just a servant who exists to do their bidding. I don't tolerate that anymore. Life's too short. This particular night was sometime in early winter, maybe late November or early December of 2018. It wasn't even that cold outside, maybe low 40s. Chilly but nothing serious. I had been driving for a few hours already, had done maybe 6 or 7 rides, and things were going smoothly. I got a ping for a pickup in downtown Detroit. Group of 3 or 4 passengers, destination about 20 minutes away. Good fare. I accepted and headed toward the pickup location. The app said they were on a corner near one of the bar districts. I got there in about 5 minutes, pulled up to the exact spot the GPS indicated, and looked around. No one there. This happens all the time. People request a ride from inside a bar, then wander down the street or cross to the other side. The GPS isn't always precise and passengers don't always pay attention to where they're standing. Usually a quick phone call sorts it out. My phone rang. The guy who had requested the ride. Passenger 1, hey, we're waiting for you. Where are you? Me, I'm at the pickup location the app gave me. Corner of the street, right by the parking structure. Passenger 1, oh okay, we might be a little further down. Give us a second. Me, no problem. I'll wait. He was calm, polite. No issues. I figured they would walk over in a minute and we'd be on our way. Then I heard some shuffling on the other end of the line. A different voice came on. This guy had a British Indian accent, the kind you hear from someone who grew up in the UK, but whose family was from South Asia. Second passenger, hello? Where exactly are you right now? Me, I'm at the pickup spot, the corner by the parking structure. If you walk toward the main street, you should see my car. Silver sedan. Second passenger, listen, we are freezing out here. There is no reason for you to be taking so long. Me, sir, I've been here for maybe 2 minutes. If you tell me exactly where you are, I can come to you. Second passenger, look, we are standing in the middle of the sidewalk. It is so cold outside. I don't understand why you're making us wait like this. Me, I'm not making you wait. I'm at the location your friend put in the app. If you're somewhere else, just tell me where. Second passenger, this is ridiculous. We have been standing here and you are nowhere to be seen. This is completely unacceptable. Me, sir, if you would just let me know what cross street you're near, I can drive over. Second passenger, I shouldn't have to tell you where I am. You're the driver. You should be able to find us. This is your job. His tone was getting worse with every sentence. At first he was trying to sound polite, like he was doing me a favor by explaining the situation. But underneath that thin layer of fake courtesy was pure condescension. He talked to me like I was an idiot, like I was his personal servant who had failed to meet his standards. And they had been waiting maybe 3 minutes at that point. Maybe 4. The app tracks everything. I know exactly how long I was there. Second passenger, are you even listening to me? Hello? Me, I'm listening. Second passenger, then why haven't you found us yet? This is absolutely absurd. We are paying customers, and you are wasting our time." Something snapped in me, not in a violent way, just a clarity, a moment where I realized I didn't have to put up with this. I had spent a year dealing with difficult passengers, drunk people who spilled drinks in my car, college kids who slammed my doors, entitled business travelers who complained about everything. I took it all with a smile because I needed the money and the ratings. But this guy, standing out in weather that wasn't even that cold, berating me like I was beneath him after waiting less than 5 minutes. No. Me, you know what? Second passenger, what? What is it? I didn't answer. I just hung up. Then I canceled the ride. The app asks you for a reason when you cancel. I selected passenger behavior and confirmed. I put my car in drive and pulled away from the corner. My phone started buzzing almost immediately. The original guy, the polite one, was trying to call me back. I didn't answer. The calls kept coming for about a minute, then stopped. I imagine the scene. 4 guys standing on a sidewalk in downtown Detroit, watching their Uber driver disappear. The rude one probably sputtering with indignation, demanding to know what happened. The others annoyed, maybe embarrassed, definitely cold. Because here's the thing about canceling on someone late at night in a busy area. It takes time to get another ride. The app has to find a new driver, that driver has to accept, then they have to drive over. On a busy night that could be 10, 15, 20 minutes. And the temperature was dropping. It always does after midnight. I picked up another passenger about 5 minutes later. Nice older woman heading home from a late shift at a restaurant. We had a pleasant conversation about her grandkids. She tipped me $5 in cash. I never heard from those guys again. The app doesn't let passengers contact previous drivers once the ride is canceled. They probably left me a bad rating on the cancellation, but I didn't care. My overall rating stayed above 4.9. Sometimes I wonder if the rude guy ever figured out why I drove away. Probably not. People like that never think they're the problem. In his mind, I'm sure I was just another incompetent driver who couldn't do his job. But I know the truth. He talked down to the wrong person on the wrong night. I hope that sidewalk was cold. I hope they waited a long time for the next ride. And I hope whoever picked them up charged them surge pricing. Story 3. I'm 20 years old and in my 3rd year of college. I study business administration at a state university about an hour from where I grew up. It's not the fanciest school, but it has a solid program, and the tuition doesn't make me want to cry every time I think about it. I chose it specifically because I could commute from home for the first 2 years and save money on housing. This past year, I finally moved into an apartment near campus with 2 roommates. It's a small place, nothing special, but it's mine. Well, partly mine. I pay my share of rent with money from my part-time job at the campus bookstore and a small scholarship that covers some of my expenses. Every dollar is accounted for. I have a spreadsheet. I know exactly what comes in and what goes out because I have to. Getting my own debit card was a big deal for me. I know that sounds silly to some people. It's just a piece of plastic. But for my whole life, money had always flowed through my parents. If I needed something, I asked. If I wanted something, I asked. Every purchase was a negotiation, a justification, a conversation about whether it was necessary or frivolous. Having my own card meant I could buy a coffee without explaining why I needed caffeine. I could grab lunch between classes without texting for permission. It was freedom in the smallest, most ordinary way. I was proud of that card. I kept it in a little slot in my phone case so I'd always know where it was. I checked my balance almost daily, not out of anxiety, but out of a sense of responsibility. This was my money, my budget, my life. That's the context for what happened last weekend. My younger cousin was turning 8. He's a sweet kid, always excited to see me when I visit, always asking me to play video games with him, even though I'm terrible at them. I wanted to get him something nice. My mom suggested we go to the mall together, make a trip out of it. I agreed because it seemed simple enough. Buy a gift, maybe grab lunch, spend some time together. Normal mother-daughter stuff. It did not stay normal. We got to the store and my mom grabbed a cart. That should have been my first warning sign. You don't need a cart for one birthday gift. But I didn't say anything. I figured maybe she wanted to look around. She started in the kids section, which made sense. She picked up a toy that my cousin had been asking about. Good choice. Then she grabbed an outfit. Okay, a gift and an outfit. That's generous but fine. Then another outfit. Then shoes. Then a third outfit because he's growing so fast and his mom never buys him enough clothes. I watched the cart fill up and started doing math in my head. This was easily going to be over $100 just for my cousin. That's a lot more than I had planned to spend, but I figured my mom was covering the extra stuff. She's the one who picked it out. Then she wandered over to the women's section. Mom? Oh, this is cute. I've been needing a new top. She tossed a blouse into the cart, then a pair of earrings, then a scarf. Me, Mom, are we staying in budget? This is adding up. Mom, yes, don't worry. I know what I'm doing. I let it go. Maybe she had more money set aside than I realized. Maybe she was planning to put some stuff back. I didn't want to start an argument over assumptions. We got to the checkout. The cashier started scanning items. The total climbed higher and higher. When she announced the final number, my stomach dropped. $247. My mom looked at the screen. Then she looked at me, and I saw something shift in her expression. It was the look of someone who had just found a solution to a problem they'd created. Mom, put it on your card. Me, what? Mom, your card. Use it. Me, Mom, I can't. That's way more than I budgeted for. I'm on a tight student budget. I didn't plan for all this. She laughed. Actually laughed, like I had just told a joke. Mom, why do you even have a card if you can't use it for family stuff? Me, I can pay for the gift. The toy we came for. But not all of this. I can't afford it. Her expression changed. The warmth disappeared. Mom, wow, so you're counting money with your own mother now. I raised you. I fed you. I clothed you for 18 years. And this is how you act. Me, I'm not trying to be difficult. I just have a budget. I can cover the gift. That's what we came for. Mom, a budget. Listen to yourself. You sound like a stranger, not my daughter. The cashier was standing there, clearly uncomfortable, trying to look anywhere but at us. There were people in line behind us. I could feel their eyes on my back. Me, Mom, I'm happy to pay for the toy. That's what I planned for. The rest, I just can't. She stared at me for a long moment. Then she said something that made my blood run cold. Mom, fine. Give me the card. I'll keep it with me so I can use it when it's needed. You're clearly not responsible enough to manage it yourself. Me, no. Mom, excuse me? Me, I said no. It's my card. It's connected to my account. I'm not giving it to you. Mom, your account. You mean the account you have because I co-signed for you to get started with the bank? You think any of this is really yours? Me, you co-signed 2 years ago so I could open the account. The money in it is mine. From my job. From my scholarship. I earned it. She turned to the cashier with this dramatic sigh, the kind that's designed to make everyone in earshot feel sorry for her. Mom, kids these days are so selfish. They forget who paid for their whole life. You sacrifice everything for them, and this is the thanks you get. The cashier gave a tight, awkward smile and said nothing. Me, I'm going to pay for the toy. You can pay for the rest or put it back. Those are the options. Mom, I can't believe you're doing this to me. In public. Embarrassing me like this. Me, I'm not embarrassing you. I'm just not paying for things I can't afford. We ended up splitting the transaction. I paid for the toy, which came to $32. She huffed and pulled out her own card for the rest, making a big show of how inconvenienced she was. The ride home was silent. Not peaceful silent. Tense silent. The kind of silence that feels louder than yelling. When we got back to my parents' house, She went straight inside and called my aunt. I could hear her through the door. "Mom, you won't believe what happened. We went to get a gift for the birthday and she refused to help. Just flat out refused. Said she has a budget." Can you imagine? A budget for her own family. I don't know where I went wrong with her. I didn't go in to defend myself. There was no point. The story was already set. I was the selfish daughter who wouldn't help family. Never mind that I paid for the actual gift. Never mind that the help she wanted was access to my money with no limits and no discussion. My aunt called me later that night. I expected a lecture, but instead she surprised me. "Aunt, hey, your mom told me what happened. I just wanted to check in." Me, I'm sure she had a lot to say. "Aunt, she did. But I've known your mom a long time. I know how she gets about money. You did the right thing." Me, really? "Aunt, really. You set a boundary. That's healthy. Don't let anyone make you feel bad for knowing your limits." That conversation helped more than I expected. The next day, my mom acted like nothing had happened. She texted me asking if I wanted to come over for dinner. No apology. No acknowledgement. Just a reset, like she could just skip past the uncomfortable part and go back to normal. I went to dinner because I'm not trying to blow up my whole family over one incident. But I noticed something had shifted. She asked if I could lend her $40 for gas. I said I couldn't. She sighed but didn't push. Maybe she realized the card wasn't community property after all. Or maybe she's just waiting for another opportunity. Either way, my card stays in my phone case, my budget stays on my spreadsheet, and my boundaries stay exactly where I put them. Story 4. I've been working at this company for about 3 years now. It's a manufacturing firm, pretty small operation, maybe 50 employees total. I handle supplier relations and logistics, which sounds fancy but really just means I'm the one who makes sure we have what we need when we need it, and that our vendors are happy. It's not glamorous work, but I'm good at it. Getting this job wasn't easy. I studied a different field than most of my coworkers, came from a different background, and I'm one of only 2 women in the entire operations department. In my industry, in my country, that means I have to work twice as hard to get half the respect. It's exhausting, but I've learned to navigate it. You pick your battles. You find ways to get what you need without making enemies. Direct confrontation might work for some people, but for me it just puts a target on my back. My commute is about 20 minutes by car. I could take public transport, but that would mean an hour each way with multiple transfers, and my shifts rotate between midnight, 8 in the morning, and 4 in the afternoon. There's no way I could manage that schedule without my own car, so I drive every day, rain or shine. My senior coworker also drives to work. He's been with the company about 7 years longer than me and technically outranks me, though in practice I end up doing most of the actual work while he takes the credit. His shifts are always 8 in the morning, nice and regular, because seniority has its privileges, I guess. About 2 months ago, we had a supplier visit coming up. One of our key vendors wanted us to come out to their facility, about an hour's drive from our office. These visits are important. You build relationships, you see their operation, you work out any issues face to face. It's a big deal. Now here's the thing. This visit was entirely my senior's responsibility. He's the one who's supposed to coordinate these things. But from the moment it got scheduled, he started dumping tasks on me. Draft the agenda, confirm the attendees, prepare the presentation materials, handle the logistics. I did all of it, every single thing, because that's what you do when you're the junior person trying to prove yourself. You swallow your frustration and you do the work. But there was one task he couldn't quite bring himself to delegate directly: the question of who was driving. Senior, have you ever been out to that area before? Me, no, I haven't. Senior, it's a long drive, lots of highway. Me, I'm sure it is. Senior, I really hate highway driving. Makes me tense. Me, that's too bad. He kept making these little comments for weeks. never directly asking me to drive, just circling around it, hinting, hoping I would volunteer. I knew exactly what he was doing, and I refused to take the bait. I had already done everything else for this visit. I wasn't going to add chauffeur to my list of responsibilities too. One afternoon, I overheard him talking to our manager in the hallway. "Senior, we still don't really have a solid plan for transport to the supplier visit." "Manager, what do you mean? You're both driving to work anyway. Can't one of you just drive?" "Senior, well, it's complicated. I'll figure something out." "Manager, make sure you do. The visit is in 2 weeks." I waited 3 days to see what his brilliant solution would be. Nothing. Just more of the same vague comments and hopeful glances in my direction. That's when I decided to take matters into my own hands. The following Monday, I left my car at home and took public transport to work. Woke up an hour early, caught 2 buses and a train, arrived at the office right on time. It was inconvenient, but I didn't mind. I was fueled entirely by spite, and the extra commute time gave me a chance to catch up on my podcasts. I did this for 3 days straight. On the 3rd day, my manager noticed. "Manager, I saw you coming in from the bus stop this morning. Car trouble?" Me, "Oh no, my brother is in town visiting. I lent him my car so he and his girlfriend could see the sights. They're tourists, you know how it is." Manager, "That's nice of you. How long is he staying?" Me, "Another week or so. Maybe longer." That afternoon, I drafted an email to both my manager and my senior. I copied the supplier contact as well. Very professional, very polite. The email said that our transport plans for the visit had fallen through and asked if the supplier could recommend any options for getting to their facility via public transport or taxi services. My manager called my senior into his office about 20 minutes after I sent it. I couldn't hear everything, but I caught enough through the thin walls. "Manager, is this your idea of figuring something out?" Senior, "I didn't know she wouldn't have her car." Manager, "You've had a month to plan this. You're the senior coordinator. This is your responsibility." Senior, "I thought she would just volunteer to drive." Manager, "You thought your junior would volunteer to chauffeur you around for 3 hours. Are you serious right now?" There was a long pause. Manager, "This is shameful behavior. You've left most of the work for this visit to someone who's been here a third as long as you. And now you can't even handle the transportation. What exactly do you do around here?" Senior, "I'll drive. I'll drive us there. It's fine." Manager, "Yes, you will. And we're going to have a longer conversation about your performance after this visit is over." My senior didn't look at me for the rest of the day. The visit itself went fine. He drove us there, sat through the meetings, drove us back. Didn't say much the whole time. I made pleasant conversation with the supplier contacts and pretended not to notice how uncomfortable he was. And wouldn't you know it, my brother went home the very next day. I rolled up to the office the following morning in my car, right on time, fresh cup of coffee in hand. My senior was standing in the parking lot when I pulled in. He watched me get out of the driver's seat with this look on his face like he had just figured out a puzzle that had been bothering him for days. Senior, "Your brother left already." Me, "Yeah, early flight. You know how it is." He didn't say anything else, just turned and walked inside. We don't talk much anymore unless we have to. He handles his own responsibilities now, and nobody has asked me to be the chauffeur since.